what was the question with which we left the first session? Anybody who remembers that? How to? Louder. How to?
How to eliminate the internal hand.
Wonderful. Internal factors. Okay. The first, what are the internal factors, and then how to get rid of these internal factors. Okay, this is where we left. We left with this morning. This is an extremely important point, and as I encouraged this morning, that we need to learn how to articulate your thoughts and articulate your expression. What do you want to say? How to articulate your thoughts. The question is, what are the internal factors? For your information, in this handout which Jill worked on last night and then brought this out for us, so kindly brought this out, the mantra recitation which reads Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava. So as the doctor said, we need to track the cause of the problems, and the cause, we see that external factors are there, internal factors are there. So while I go deeper into internal factors, as to what the internal factors are, how to get rid of these internal factors, I'd like to also inform you that we should be very realistic. Realistic meaning that let us not go to the extent of saying that everything you're thinking, you have to set a proper mindset. We should be very realistic. So let's say that the COVID-19. With the COVID-19, don't just say everything's mental. COVID-19. Where now we are more relieved. Otherwise, 2020, it was very scary. Everybody had to live in the feeling of the uncertainty, feeling fear. So there, the more you travel, the more prone you are to contract the COVID-19. How many agree with me, listeners? Which means that external factors there. Don't deny the external factors. At the same time, to think of getting rid of all our stresses. In other words, to make your stress zero, to make our misery zero. For that matter, of the two factors, we said that either you remove the external factors completely, so the only one has left, or you remove the internal factors completely, so the only external factors left, that the sound of the miseries become zero. So this is what we're talking about. So, but in real life, we need to keep in mind that we have to look for two things. One is the immediate measures and the long-term measures. To deal with your emotions, to deal with your stresses, we need to take care of the immediate measures and the long-term measures, both. So what are you talking about? To remove identify the internal factors and to remove the internal factors completely. We're talking about the long-term measure. But meanwhile, let's not neglect the immediate measures as well. That is to take care of the external factors. For example, let's say that if you have the fractured arm, don't say that it's purely mental, and then you go to a crowd, your situation will become worse. So we should really take care of the external factors. Meanwhile, to look for a permanent solution, it is only getting to the internal factors. Okay, this is what you need to keep in mind. In other words, always take care of both external and internal. Taking care of the external is as an immediate measure, and for the long-term measure, we must identify the internal factors and see how to get into the internal factors. Okay. So with this, the internal factors, to be very quick, there are two things. One is the cognitive error as internal factor, and the affective closeness, close-mindedness, affective close-mindedness, and the cognitive distortion. These are the two factors. Cognitive distortions refer to say ignorance. Ignorance, which cognitively distorts the vision of the reality. And the other one is the affective close-mindedness. Affective. What does it mean by that? Let's not worry about that. I'll go through this. So with this, we see that when these two things combine together, when the cognitive distortion happens, and then the affective close-mindedness comes into play, these two things come together, then our mind becomes, say, the involuntarily pull and push happens. Involuntary pull and push happens. Involuntary pull and push is what? Loss of freedom. What is loss of freedom? It's misery. So this is, nobody wants misery. If you do have the misery, then this is what stresses your mind. Okay, so these are the two factors, internal factors. One is cognitive distortion of the reality, also referred to as ignorance, and the other one is affective close-mindedness. In other words, in simple terms, it is self-centered attitude. Self-centered attitude, and this is affective and distorting the reality of the existence. This is cognitive distortion. These are two factors. So, with these two things come together, then the attachment, anger, jealousy, fear, anxiety, depression, all these things happen. So with this, for us to think of whether or not the lasting measure, long-term measure, to get rid of the internal factors completely, the question is whether or not it is possible. This is a huge question. Whether or not it is possible to get rid of all the internal factors, the cognitive distortion of the reality, and the affective close-mindedness. Can we get rid of these two so that our basic emotions, such as attachment, anger, jealousy, fear, and so forth, can be got rid of completely? This is a huge question. And in this connection, I'd like to also bring it to your notice that what is Charles Darwin's view on this? What is Charles Darwin's view on this? This is a big question. And it was 2008. Yes, it was 2008 that I was in America. They sent by the office of His Holiness the Dalai Lama to work on the book, which is the co-authored by His Holiness the Dalai Lama and a professor, the Poligman, Professor Poligman. And I'm sure many of you are already aware of this book. The title of the book is Emotional Awareness. Emotional awareness, and I was sent there to check if His Holiness's voice in the book really represents His Holiness's thoughts, or if there's any alteration happening. So I was there for 5 days with him. So all 5 evenings, Professor Poligman, he was so kind to entertain me with various the events, and one evening was meeting with his colleagues, psychologists. He himself is a psychologist, renowned psychologist, and some of you already know about him. And he is like the pioneer of the microfacial expression reading. He's a pioneer in the microfacial expression reading, in this the discipline. And that evening, with his psychology psychologist colleagues, he asked me to introduce myself and talk a little bit about what I do. So we talk about how to manage emotions, particularly how to curb the destructive emotions, his attachment, anger, jealousy, and so forth. And then one lady psychologist raised her hand and said that, well, these basic emotions. So what I'm saying is that, so what is the take of Charles Darwin pertaining to managing your basic emotions to get into the internal factors? So this lady, the psychologist, said that these emotions, attachment, anger, jealousy, fear, these are the instincts, number one. And these are the evolutionary gifts. Because they're instincts, we cannot get rid of them, number one. So I said that we can get rid of them so that we will get the ultimate happiness. Total fearlessness. And she argued that these are instincts. We cannot get rid of them, number one. Number two, that for a survival, we need these emotions. And if you think, initially you may feel that it's very true. For example, let's say that how many you took this one, from the starters, how many you ate the mushroom, the sense? Okay, how many you skipped mushroom, the sense? Some skipped mushroom, some ate mushroom, and those who took the mushroom, why did you take the mushroom? I like it. And those who skip mushroom, why did you skip mushroom? Because it is not healthy. So some of you push that, some of you embrace that. Embracing is attachment, pushing is aversion. So what Charles Darwin said is that, so we require these two emotions. Embrace good things that we like, and push those things which we don't like. Because if you don't do that, we need to grow. For us to grow, we need conducive factors, and we need to stay away from discordant factors. What bring the conducive factors is attachment. Without the attachment, you will not bring the conducive factors close by you. Without the aversion, you will not push aside the non-conducive factors, without which you cannot thrive. So, you talk about the survival of the fittest. Survival of the fittest. We cannot survive if we are not fit to embrace what you require and to push what is discordant to your survival. And also that fear. He said that fear is required. It's an evolutionary gift. Without this fear, a lion comes. And then you say that, okay, I have no fear. The lion will simply mount you up and you are finished. And then your continuation as a species will stop. So, the whole purpose, he said, is that whole purpose for a species is to continue the species, survival of the fittest. So this is how we to survive. So with this, in other words, in simple terms, according to Charles Darwin, that these basic emotions, which we can boil down to one thing, but of course Charles Darwin did not really touch so much on the cognitive distortion. He touched more on the affective close-mindedness of the attachment, aversion, and sometimes even some scholars, they wrote the title was on selfish genes, selfishness. So how, for him, these are not to be discarded. These are, number one, cannot be discarded because they are instincts. And we are encouraged not to discard them because they are required for your survival. But the Buddha taught the opposite. Are they instincts? Answer is yes. Can we remove them? We can. Although they're instincts, it doesn't mean that we cannot get rid of them. We can get rid of them. Number one. Number two, do we really require these, the destructive emotions? Answer is not necessary. These emotions are counterproductive. Today, the modern science, medical science, would say that anger consumes your immune system. It destroys your immune system. If you remain angry for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, you cannot survive. You can die very soon. You can die very soon if you are angry for continuous for 2 weeks. You will instantly, your body will collapse. One day, few seconds is fine. Few seconds anger, few minutes anger is fine. But If you continue to be angry for like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, your body will instantly go down. I've seen that with my own eyes. So, people who are really short-tempered and who are very close to me, one thing that I always encourage them is, please take care of your health. Your health is number one important thing. What I mean to say is, this very indirect way of saying, don't be angry. Because you will not survive. This is the warning that I give. And yes, some of my friends get to leave the world because of this anger issue. Yes, I cannot tell them directly. If I tell them directly, it can be very offensive. But this is what unfortunately it happens. So we're being so unwise. Okay. So with this difference, instead of, for the survival of the human species, instead of anger, the Buddha taught what is known as skillful compassion. Skillful compassion. Skillful compassion, it does the work of what the anger and attachment do, the way Charles Darwin proposed or explained. At the same time, the side effect with the attachment and aversion, these are totally absent with the skillful compassion. So therefore, this is amazingly, I'll say, the wise approach to deal with emotions. So this, as they lay this layers the ground for our understanding, whether or not, first of all, what are the internal factors? Number 2 is how to get rid of these internal factors. Okay. Let's say that how many, is there anybody who can tell me what is a big shopping mall here in Mumbai? Anyone? Huh? Just raise hand. Somebody, one person? Yes. Phoenix. Phoenix or Phoenix?
Yeah,
Phoenix.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's say. How big is that? This size? 10 times? 20 times? 30 times? 40 times? That's 40, 100 times. Okay. For the shopping malls to be successful, in fact, I don't really need to explain this to you. Right? You're an expert. I don't know, I don't think all of you, but many of you, right? One time I was in Assam, and it was a very small, new center, Buddhist center. They invited me there, and the center, it was I think it was more like the inaugural of the small space that they have rented. There were about, I think, maximum 20 people there. And then from where they put me up, my guest house, and the venue, and they were to travel by car. So on the road, to my left hand side, all the main members were there. Many members of this center were in the same car, and I told them, oh, there must be a very big center here, very big center to my left side. And they said, Geshe, no, there's no center. No, I can see that. There's one center here. I said, no, Geshe, there's no center there. I said, yes, there's a center there. I could say, big one is there, the big one. Look at all these, the cars, the motorbikes, all these are there. Almost 1,000. There must be a big center there. And they said, where? On my left side. They looked at it, no, Geshe, this is shopping mall. So what I was saying is that this is where the people's mind, they're pulled. Okay, how the shopping malls work. Okay, by the way, just be very honest. Raise hands, those who had dreams. Dreams where you are going to a shopping mall. Raise hands. Okay. Right? Okay. Let's say that, do you agree with me that in the dream when you go for a shopping mall, there should be 2 things happening. Number 1 is that that your mind should create the shopping mall, yes, in the dream. And then there should be the self, then you go there as a shopper. You go there. Likewise, the CEO of the company or the shareholders with the investment, then they first create the shopping mall. Just make all the infrastructure, then the merchandise, they were all set properly, right? Like what? Chanel, right? You know what? Huh? Prada. Okay, I never heard of this. Okay, Prada. Okay, then what's that? Yes. Gucci. Right. Yes. Okay. So the first people, somebody should put all these items there. Right. First, the shopping mall is created. All these items displayed. Number one. Do you agree with me or not? Then number two, the shoppers should come. If the shoppers don't come, then this is totally meaningless. You agree? Then number two, shoppers come. If the items are displayed so well, then many shoppers take visit, then the shopping mall, this is a mark of the success of the shopping mall. You agree? Two things. Actually, this is what is happening to our mind. Look at how the mind works. So cognitively, it creates things which are actually not there. It creates the shopping mall, all the merchandise were created by the ignorance. By ignorance, and I'll tell you how. Then who are the customers? This self-centered attitude. I want this, I don't want this. This self-centered attitude comes as a customer. You getting it? Okay. In the dream, you dreamt of going to a shopping mall. The shopping mall was not at all a reality. It's your mind which created the shopping mall. Yes? No?
Yes.
Then, who goes there? You go there. And you think that there are so many people also joining there. Actually, you're going there in your mind. So, your mind created the shopping mall and then you go there as a customer. Right? Gucci, then Chanel, or what? Prada, right? So, whatever you go there to choose these, to choose that, and so forth. So there are two things. So that thing, so we never go there to say that, okay, shopping mall, I say my next door neighbor, he needs this, she needs this, and people there. No, I need this, my house needs this. It's all about I, the shopper, you are the shopper. And your mind also created this shopping mall in the dream. This is exactly what is happening. There are two things in our emotional states. Stress, all these things for them. Now, number one is that cognitively you distort the reality. You create a false reality, number one. Cognitively, it distorts the false reality. Then the self-centered attitude or the affective narrow-mindedness, always think about I. This comes as a shopper. This is good, this is not good. The food is not good, food is very good, it's delicious, right? Or let's say the Mumbai weather is so humid. So all, and then my problem with people are blaming me, and then my health is a problem, my wife is a problem, children problem, parents are a problem. So this who's problem to whom? To I, to this I. So this I is a one as a shopper to say this is good, this is not good, and then all the external factors are there. These two internal factors come into play. Then the sound of misery erupts. This is how the misery, stress arises. So to get into this Heart Sutra is extremely important. Okay, so we're going to touch on this Heart Sutra first. So the handout, please take it out. And there are some prayers included in the first page, which we will use it tomorrow morning. And the Heart Sutra, let's open the Heart Sutra part. How many have been to Rajgir? Raise hand. Rajgir, the place where the Heart Sutra actually taught. Yes. 2, 3. Yes, Geshe, and then the Tashila, Pejula, yes. Okay, they recently we went there, Prague, we went there the Buddhist retreat. Okay, so this actually happened in the place known as Rajgir. And for your very quick information, for some of you did maybe like totally like the say out of blue, just suddenly something falls from the sky. Don't worry too much about that part. Let me give you a very brief information that the Buddha Shakyamuni in Bodh Gaya, under the Bodhi tree, Buddha Shakyamuni became enlightened. And when he became enlightened, he remained silent for 49 days. And the whole intention, whole purpose for the Buddha, Prince Siddhartha, to become enlightened is to show the light of the wisdom. Light of the wisdom, which he discovered, which he did not invent. Let's not forget it. This distinction must be made. That to share this wisdom, to teach this wisdom to the beings, this wisdom which the Prince Siddhartha discovered. This wisdom the Prince Siddhartha did not invent. Let's not forget it. So therefore, I say, only we know this reality which the Prince Siddhartha discovered. If you know this reality, then the ignorance is dispelled. We don't have to change the reality. The reality is reality. Only things that thus far why we suffer is because of the distortion of the reality. And once you overcome the distortion of the reality, you see the reality, your miseries will be dissolved because your true nature of the mind will manifest. And true nature of the mind is extremely peaceful, where there is no stress, anxiety, and so forth. True nature of the mind will manifest. Okay, let me give an example for you to get a little bit close to this. Okay, let me keep this aside for time being. So Buddha remained silent for 49 days, and he was supposed to teach us what the reality is constituted of. And he remained silent. And Indra and Brahma, the kings of the gods and goddesses, they descended to pay respect to the Buddha and request the Buddha, please don't remain silent. Please start to give the teachings. Then the Buddha taught in Tibetan, Sabshi to the Sudumache, Dusi the Chushi Kuye, Suda Penya, Mimanaga Sunacha. In English, it says that profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light, and non-composite, such is the nectar-like Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I will retire into the woods. This is what the Buddha said. Then Indra and Brahma made more requests to Buddha Shakyamuni. Indra offered the conch, symbolizing that please blow the conch of the Dharma, that the beings can see the reality and be liberated from miseries. And Brahma offered a wheel, a request, symbolic of the request, that please turn the wheel of Dharma so that the beings do not have to suffer anymore in samsara. And Buddha had two words. Number one, Varanasi, he gave the first teaching on Four Noble Truths. Next, he went to Rajgir, the Heart Sutra, where the Buddha taught nothing exists truly. And then third, the Buddha went to Vaishali, where the Buddha taught at the teaching as a clarification between the first two teachings. So, the first one Buddha taught Four Noble Truths, and Buddha taught that Four Noble Truths exist truly. And second term Buddha Dharma, Buddha taught nothing exists truly. Okay, so you may see a little bit of contradiction there. But first, the Buddha taught Four Noble Truths exist truly, and second term Buddha Dharma, Buddha taught nothing exists truly. And the third turning is the outcome of the clarification that Buddha gave pertaining to the first and second Buddha Dharma. There was one Bodhisattva who stood up along with the other, the remaining 9, total that there were 10 Bodhisattvas in line. They asked 10 different questions to Buddha, and particularly Bodhisattva, Pramatsamugga, very high level Bodhisattva, he asked this question on behalf of the one group of people who were confused. He asked the Buddha that the first turning, the Buddha taught Four Noble Truths exist truly. And second turning, the Buddha taught nothing exists truly. So now we are a little confused. So how do we understand your two teachings? Then the Buddha made a clarification. That became the third turn of Buddha Dhamma. I don't want to go into detail with this. Okay. So having said this, Heart Sutra belongs to the second turn of Buddha Dhamma. It's a very highest level of the teaching pertaining to how to dismantle your distortion of the reality, how to remove your ignorance. The first. Okay. So with this, okay. Now let me give you let me put you, say, into three situations. One, say that you are sleeping and you dream of paying in what is that? The very strict lockdown for 2 years. And after this strict lockdown of 2 years, you feel so suffocated. By the way, how many of you felt suffocated with the lockdown? In a sense? Okay. So let's say that all of you are so suffocated because of the strict lockdown. And then in the dream, then Geshe said, don't worry, I'll take you all for a holiday. Right? So you were so excited, finally I can breathe fresh outside. And so that was then he took you to the what is that? Global fusion. Right? To global fusion for a nice status. After 2 years of being locked down, strict lockdown, right? You are so happy, you thank Geshe. Geshe was something, thank you so much, right? Okay. So the first, you like this dream, part of the dream or not? You liked it very much, number one. Then you go out and suddenly, so the moment you go out of global fusion, 5 minutes later, there was a flood. An extremely scary flood. And then you thought that, okay, now I'm dead. Right? You're dead. There's so much of fear there, number two. You like it? You don't like it? I don't like it. Number three. Then you think, when you think that you are almost drowning, then you said, now I'm done, now I'm dead. When you said, now I'm dead, your mother wakes you up. The lady, what's your name? Huh? Namrita husband wake her up. Wakes her up. And then she was so, okay, each one of us, right? Each one of us, your mother wakes you up. Yes, I'm so glad it's dream. It's not real. Okay, 3 options. Number 1, Geshe are taking you out to global fusion for good starters after 2 years of straight lockdown. Number 2, going out, thanking Geshe, going out in 5 minutes, there's a sudden flood. I'm dead now. Number 3, your mother wakes you up. Of the 3, be very honest. Which do you prefer the most? Raise hands. Okay. Raise hands those who will say number 3. Okay. And I know that some of you will say number 1. Right? Okay. My question to you is that the number 1. You like, how many of you like number 1? I'm not saying it's the best, but I like number 1. Raise hands. Okay. Okay, Richard, tell me, why did you like number 1?
Geshe, because it is a pleasant dream which...
But it's not real. It's a dream. Right? Why do you like it?
Because in your dream you believe it to be real.
Okay, how many agree with Richard? Raise hands. In your dream you believe it to be real. You're getting it? So it's just a perception. Look at the power of your perception. It's just a mere perception, and yet it has the power to give you so much joy. You're getting it? The mere perception. Do you agree? Do you agree with me? It's just a mere perception. Do you agree with me or not?
Yes.
Yes. Yet it has the power to trigger so much joy in you. How many of you were so scared of the second dream? Raise hands. Okay. Why are you scared? It's not real. It's just your dream. It's just your perception. Why? The girl here? Yes.
Because it was something that consumed me, like it just
No, it's
felt
just mere
real.
perception.
But it still felt real.
Okay. So just all of you, just imagine that you are trapped in a tsunami. Just imagine. Just imagine that you're trapped in a tsunami. Okay, how many of you are scared? Raise hands. I'm scared now. I'm running. Huh? Right? How many of you are scared? Richard, you scared now? You're scared now? You think about it. So you're scared because of your thinking? Are you sure? Okay. So when you think about, okay, I'm being scared, I'm dreaming, it's like a movie. There's no fear there. Why you don't have to fear now? Whereas in the dream, when you dreamt of being washed away by the tsunami, there's so much fear. Why? Both are equally your mental perception, mere mental perception. One has a very powerful effect on the mind to create stress, tension. Whereas now when you think about it, it doesn't stress you. Why? Anyone? Raise hands, raise hands. Anyone? Raise hands. Raise hands, Rishita. And Rishita, yes.
Because in your dream you don't have control over the
Perception.
You can't stop it or start it at will. You are merely reacting, and in this situation you do have a little control.
You can get rid of the perception. Anyone else? What do you think? In the dream, when you wash away by the tsunami, there's a real fear there. It's a real nightmare. Whereas now, when I ask you to imagine that you are washed away by the tsunami, it's like fun for you. What's the difference? Yes.
It's not real.
So now you know that it's not real. In the dream, although it's not real, you thought it was real. How many agree with Ravi's results? Good. What do you mean by real? What do you mean by not real? You see that's real, you see that's not real. What is that? How would you make this distinction? Raise hands. How would you make this distinction? Yes.
Well, how we perceive the situation will make us feel how it's real if it's happening. And we are sensing everything by our senses. If I'm seeing the water is coming to me, there is fear inside me. Everything is consumed in my mind by fear. But if I imagine it's not real, so I can make the distinction.
When you imagine, what makes you think it's not real? What is the criteria to say that something is not real?
Because my senses are actively picking up.
No, not real. You say when you imagine, your senses are not active.
Right.
So what makes you say that this is not real?
It's not happening.
Yes. The girl there,
Your mind is thinking. You are dreaming or not thinking. It's breathing.
okay. So here you are deliberately thinking. You're deliberately imagining, and other in the dream you're not deliberately thinking. It appears to you as though it's real. So which means that one is you know that you're deliberately your mind, your subject is creating it. But in the dream, you are not deliberately subject creating it. You perceive it as from the object, not from the subject. In other words, in the dream, you see the dream as objectively real. When you wake up, when you think about it, you see it as subjectively creation. You see difference between the two? When you see it as objectively real, there's a fear there. When you see subjectively real, no fear, it's just my mind cooking up the story. Okay, so having said this, I have one or two questions to you. Say you decide whether it's objectively real or whether it is subjectively real. So let's say this flower, is it objectively real or subjectively real? versus imaginary flower in my right hand, imaginary blue flower versus this real white flower in the left hand. Which is objective, which is subjective?
Subject.
The white flower is objective, subjective. Objective, and the imaginary blue flower is subjective. You're getting it? So with this as the basic framework of your knowledge, tell me the same mirage. Is it subjective or objective? Subject, very good. And the water, subjective or objective? Objective. Okay. So from this what we learn is that in the dream, when you see something so objectively scary, there's a fear arises. Whereas when you know that it is subjectively scary, it is not objectively real. You subjectively create it as scary, it doesn't scare you, it doesn't create fear in you. You agree with me? In other words, the point is that when you know something as subjective, when you know something is subjectively real, your fear dissolves. When you see something is objectively real, the fear arises. Okay, now tell me, seeing the dream as real, is that ignorance or this wisdom? Seeing the dream as objectively real, ignorance or wisdom?
Ignorance.
Ignorance. And seeing the dream as real happens in the dream or outside the dream? Inside the dream. You're getting it? So inside the dream, you have the ignorance, and what's the dream goes as real. That's ignorance, and it happens in the dream. And what's the outcome of that? Fear or relief from the fear? Fear. You're getting it? Ignorance, it happens in the dream, and the result of the fear, result of this ignorance is the fear. So ignorance gives rise to fear. And seeing the dream as dream, it happens, it is ignorance of wisdom. Wisdom. And it happens where? In the dream, outside the dream? Outside that dream. What is the outcome? The fear dissolves. Right? So with the wisdom, to see that dream as dream, dreams come from the subject, your fear dissolves. So that is the result of the wisdom. Wisdoms dissolve the fear, ignorance creates a fear. You're getting it? Okay. With this, the whole Heart Sutra is to tell us that how to distress yourself by seeing everything as coming from your subject. Everything is subject real. There's nothing objectively real. So the wisdom dawns in us. Okay, for time being, just pick up whatever is next to you on your table. Whatever is there, just pick that up and show that to me. Okay, now look at it with your own eyes. Look at it with your own eyes. Look at it with your own eyes. And tell me, how does this object appear to you? As objectively real or as subjectively real? Tell me. Objectively real. So this belief is ignorance. And what's the outcome of the ignorance? All the fears arise, including, right? To see my husband is a stress. Right? Right? And to see the traffic jam is a stress. You getting it? So you see the traffic jam is objectively real and it stresses you. To see things as objectively real, it stresses you. You getting it? So that is ignorance, and the job of the ignorance is to give rise to fears in your life. To give rise to stress in your life. Okay, so the Heart Sutra here, this is extremely powerful the way to distress. And believe it or not only it will distress us, that if you get it, if you get a glimpse of this, what is taught here, say a great feeling of tranquility, a great feeling of extremely incredible tranquility will dawn and you can feel it, and which we never experienced before. So saying, at the moment I don't see anybody in stress, right? At the moment nobody's in stress, and you see that I'm just normal now. Actually it's not normal. When you know that you are not normal is when you experience what is taught in the Heart Sutra, when you get a glimpse of this, Then you go back to go closer to the real normal. Your normal. That is, your mind will feel extreme, profoundly peaceful state of mind. You will feel, I would say, profound tranquility. You will experience it. You need to get a glimpse of this. You'll feel. Then you'll see that, wow, I've been all these 24/7. My mind was constantly being disturbed. I thought it was normal. It's not normal. Now I can see the normalcy. That how my normal. What is the real meaning of normal of my mind? That my mind is extremely peaceful. Okay. So for this we have to study this. And Mumbai, I'm very serious that this you are very fortunate to have Geshe here, to have the center here for you to go to, and you must study Heart Sutra so well. The depth of this. Of course, we'll study it. So basically, to know this meaning, 2 days is just nothing. We have to study for years and years, right? Okay. So with this, let me give you just over open this Heart Sutra. The Heart Sutra belongs to of the 3 turnings of Wheel of Dharma, it belongs to the middle one, second turning Wheel of Dharma. And the whole episode is such that on this Vulture's Peak, that peak known as Vulture's Peak, there's a place there. You can go there actually. And there, the Buddha presided over the congregation. And on one side was Arya Avalokiteshvara. Arya Avalokiteshvara is the Bodhisattva of compassion. Arya Avalokiteshvara is a Bodhisattva of compassion, oftentimes depicted with 4 arms, 2 arms holding a gem, and then 2 arms on the side, total 4 arms. And also there's 1,000 armed Avalokiteshvara, so the Bodhisattva of compassion. And on the other side was Shariputra, who already attained the freedom from samsara, Shariputra there. And then the Buddha just went into samadhi, into the dreamlike nature of all phenomena. Just samadhi, when it's samadhi, to see the ultimate reality. And when each one of us, when you become a Buddha, your mind will have access to all the phenomena simultaneously. Your mind will have access to all the phenomena simultaneously. What's going on here in global fusion. Also, you will simultaneously see what's going in your house, what's going in America, in Europe, wherever. You can see every atom of the universe simultaneously. You also see the mind of each and every sentient being simultaneously. So the Buddha was immersed into the ultimate reality, referred to as emptiness. Meanwhile, he had access to all the phenomena, and through this power, the Buddha, superficial from us looking at the Buddha, you will see the Buddha into meditation. But Buddha is seeing you and seeing every phenomenon simultaneously. So Buddha inspired Shariputra to ask the question to Avalokiteshvara. You getting it? That's far? Okay? Good. Now, the real Heart Sutra begins. 3 points not miss. Okay. First, I'll read this and see if you could. It is self-explanatory. The intro. Okay. The Heart Sutra. That from all the teachings of Buddha, it is like quintessence, essence of the essences. Essence of the essences of Buddha's teachings. Quintessence. Heart is the connotation of quintessence. Essence of the essences of all the teachings of Buddha. Heart Sutra. Professional Wisdom Sutra. On the Arya Bhagavati Prasamparamita Fritaya Sutra. Tibetan Sherabinpo. I prostrate to the Arya Truvacha. Thus did I hear at one time. The Buddha was dwelling on Masavalsha's mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Profound illumination is the ultimate reality. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasatha, Aravadavitishvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion, looked upon the very practice of profound illumination or wisdom. And Aravadavitishvara, what was he doing? He was also contemplating on the ultimate reality. And beheld those five aggregates also as empty in their nature. So the five aggregates, which we're going to study a little later, so he was just contemplating on how the self is empty of true existence, or the five aggregates which constitute the self as also of empty of inherent nature, empty of true existence. Then through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasatha Aravadavitishvara. The Buddha inspired and blessed Shariputra to ask question to Aravadavitishvara. So Shariputra turned towards Aravadavitishvara and asked the question. Okay, so here comes the three points that we are not to miss. 3 points we are not to miss when we read the Heart Sutra. What are the 3 points? Number 1, what is the question asked by Shariputra to Aravadavitishvara? Do not forget this. And tomorrow morning when we come again, we should remember these 3 points. What is the question asked by Shariputra to Aravadavitishvara? Point number 1. Point number 2. What is the response Aravadavitishvara gave to Shariputra? Number 2. Number 3. What is the benefit? What is the benefit of having practice? If you practice the way Aravadavitishvara responded to Shariputra, if you practice that, then how does it benefit you? How does it distress you? How does it remove all your fears and miseries in your life? The 3 points. Before we read this, I'm going to identify what these 2 points are. What's the first point? Which question? Question the Buddha asked? No? So, keep in mind that what I expect, when I give you full, you give me full. When I give you full, don't give me half. Right? So when I give you full, you give me full. Right? So half, I'm really confused. Right? Okay, what's the first point? What's the question asked by Shariputra to Aravadavitishvara? Good, very good. Number 2? What is the answer given by Aravadavitishvara to Shariputra? Number 2, very good. What is number 3? Raise hands. Anybody? Raise hands. What is number 3? Raise hands. Okay, the lady there. The lady there. At the end, yes. What's the benefit? What? Benefit of eating cheesecake? Benefit if we practice as Aravadavitishvara responded to the question asked by Shariputra. You getting it? Okay, what is the benefit? The 3 points. The first, what's the question asked by Shariputra? This question asked by Shariputra to Aravadavitishvara. The question is, how should the child of a lineage practice the perfection of wisdom? Let me repeat it. How should a child of the lineage practice the perfection of wisdom? This is extremely important. Okay. What do you mean by the child of the lineage? Sometimes the translators translate this as, how should the son of the lineage they practice the perfection of wisdom? This is not a good translation. It should be child. Because it should not be confined to the males. It should be for everyone. Anybody. It's not only the males. The Tibetan word is pu. Pu does not necessarily mean the boy. Pu is a very generic name. Pupo, pumo. Pu is a generic name. And if you want to specify boys or the males, it's a pupo. Pupo. And then the male females, pumo. Who is a generic name for both. So translation must be, better would be, the how should child of a lineage. And in future, if you read Heart Sutra, translated by some other translators, if you do find the word, how should son of the child, son of the lineage, practice professional wisdom, be very confident that it should be translated as child of the lineage, not as the son of the lineage. It should qualify both. Okay. What do you mean by child of lineage? This is the question. What do you mean by child of lineage? Okay. So for this, say in the olden times, like 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, say the young prince, child of a king, young prince of a king is considered as very important. Although he knows nothing, he's just a small child, 2-3 years old child, but it's considered very important. Why? Anyone? Why he's considered so important? Everybody respects him. Why? Yes? Because he is holding the lineage of the kingship. As he grows, he will become the next king. Right? So therefore he is very important. Who is more important? For somebody to become king or for somebody to become a Buddha? Which is more important? Buddha meaning somebody who becomes the enlightened being to benefit all the beings. Right? When we say Buddha, don't confine that to Buddha Shakyamuni. Buddha Shakyamuni is one of the Buddhas. And each one of us, we can become enlightened. By the way, Buddha, it is a Sanskrit word. It doesn't mean Buddhism. You getting it? It doesn't mean Buddhism. It simply means awakened one. Anybody can be awakened. Jesus Christ is awakened. Ram is awakened. Or say the Lord Mahavir is awakened. So I point you know, the Guru Nanak, Prophet Muhammad, or any being can be awakened. Anybody who's awakened is known as Buddha. Buddha is the Sanskrit word to refer to somebody who's awakened. You getting it? Okay, but having said this, that which is more important? Somebody to become a king is more important, or somebody to become the full awakened is more important? Fully awakened. Although you and I cannot become a king in this life, but we can become a Buddha. Right? So, which lineage is more important? The lineage of the king is more important, the lineage of Buddha is more important. The lineage of Buddha is more important. Which means that each one of us can become the lineage holder of the enlightened one. So, each one of us, we can become a part of the best of the lineages. That is lineage of the fully awakened one. You getting it? It doesn't mean that if you are, say, the Christian or from other religion, you cannot become a Buddha. No, anybody can become Buddha. Anybody can become fully awakened one. Okay. So for this, the point is that of all the lineages, the lineage of the fully awakened one is the most precious lineage. And who is the holder of this lineage? Who is that holder of lineage? Anyone who makes a promise that I will awaken the seed of perfection within me. Everyone has the seed of perfection. Some are not keen. Some are not even aware of the presence of this, the seed of perfection. And those who are aware, the moment you make the commitment, I will awaken the seed of perfection, you become the child of the lineage of the full awakened one. Okay, this is so important. So, the child of the lineage, what do you mean by child of the lineage? Anybody who commits oneself to awaken the seed of perfection within oneself. Let me repeat it. Who is the child of the lineage? Anyone who commits oneself, who commits to awaken the seed of perfection within oneself. That is the child of the lineage. Boy, girl, trans, anybody can be a child of the lineage. If you make a commitment that I will put all my effort to awaken the seed of perfection within me. Okay. So when you make a commitment that I will become Buddha, I will become the full awakened one, then you should do something. Yes? No? So when you say that I will do PhD, right? And then always find the pubs. Right? And I will do PhD, right? I will do PhD. Actually, what are you doing is you are in the pubs. Right? Are you doing the right thing? No. When you say that I'm going to PhD, then you have to do something. You have to do something. Don't go to the pubs. You have to do something. Likewise, when you say that I will become the awakened one, you have to do something. What should you do? Your job is, okay, the goal and the month. These are mixed, and you say that I will make this goal come out. I will make the goal come out. When you say this, when you make this promise, While you make this promise, the goal is still in the mud. So you just made the commitment. You made the motivation. So how to materialize this aspiration? What should you do? Anyone? Say the gold is mixed with the mud, is lying there, and who will take this gold out as pure? I will do it. What should you do? When you say I will do it, what will you do? Work towards what?
Find out how.
How what?
How to do it.
How to do what?
Learn how to remove the
Learn how to remove the mud from the gold. How to separate the gold from the mud. You're getting it? You have to actually put effort to separate the two. Likewise, each one of us, we have the gold inside. Whether you're a believer or non-believer, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. Whether you're Buddhist or non-Buddhist, it doesn't matter. Everyone has the gold inside. This gold, but I don't see this. I don't see this. Are full of mistakes. The gold is so pure. I don't see this. It's not because it's not there. This gold is mixed with the mud. Although the nature of the gold is to glow, but as long as the gold is mixed with the mud, the gold will not glow. You agree with me? The ordinary people like us will throw this mud, think that the gold means it should glow. There's nothing glowing there. But a gold expert should not throw this. Gold expert says, no, don't throw this, there's a gold there. And how will the gold expert prove that there's gold there? Will remove the mud. As the mud is removed more and more, the gold inside will start to glow more and more. How many agree with me in a sense? Okay. So when you say that I will become Buddha, I will awaken the seed of perfection within me, when you make the commitment, you have to do something. What should you do? You should remove the metal dirt. As you remove the metal dirt more and more, then the gold inside will become manifest. You're getting it? The gold inside will become manifest. When it becomes manifest, what happens? You become fearless and you experience infinite happiness. Okay. So our question is, what are the external factors we know? We ask, what are the internal factors and how to remove the internal factors? Remember that? Okay. Internal factors are the mud which obscure this gold. The mud which obscures this gold. This mud is not external mud, it's a mental mud. Mental mud technically referred to as mental obscurations or mental defilements. And this mental defilements is of two kinds. One is a gross mud, the gross defilements, also referred to as the afflictive obscurations. Afflictive obscurations. And the subtle one, okay, let's say that somebody smashed garlic in my mug. And then I don't eat garlic, so who smashed garlic? And you owned up, said, I'm very sorry, I did it. And you wash the mug so well. Is there any trace of the garlic there? No trace at all. You smell it, it still smells garlic. So likewise, even after removing the solid metal dirt, still there's a smell of the garlic like mental defilements left. That smell of garlic or mental defilements technically known as cognitive obscurations. So these are the two mental defilements which obscure this gold inside you. And this is not metaphorical, this is a reality. Reality means that you have a treasure of ultimate happiness within you. This is there, it is there. It is obscured by the mental defilements. What are the two mental defilements? Afflictive obscurations and cognitive obscurations. Okay. So what do these two mental defilements do? The presence of the afflictive obscurations stops you from liberation, stops you from experiencing freedom from miseries. In other words, afflictive obscuration attracts the miseries. It stops you from experiencing the freedom from miseries. It stops you from experiencing freedom from miseries and freedom from fears. And this is technically known as, it stops you from attaining nirvana. In Dharma sense, in Dharma terms, it is known nirvana. In secular terms, it is fearlessness. It stops you from experiencing fearlessness in secular terms. In Dharma terms, it is the same concept, but in Dharma terms, it is known as nirvana. In secular terms, it is known as fearlessness. Okay, remove the cognitive obscurations. What happens is that you will experience, in secular terms, you will experience infinite happiness. Remove the cognitive obscurations, you will experience infinite happiness. And technically, it is known as you experience Buddhahood or omniscient state. Omniscient state. Okay. So, with this, the question asked by Shariputra is how to remove the mental, how to how should the child of the lineage, meaning somebody who comes to become awakened or enlightened, how should child of the lineage practice a perfection wisdom? How should the child of the lineage practice a perfection wisdom? So, as the child of the lineage, what is your job now? If you make a commitment, then I'll make this goal to manifest. What's your job? To remove the mental defilements. You're getting it? Next question is, how to remove the mental defilements? So these technically mental defilements, and in secular sense, internal factors. In secular sense, we can say internal factors. In Dharma sense, it is mental defilements. Okay. How to remove the mental defilements? This question. For this, we need to keep in mind, okay, tell me, what advice would you give me? Saying that when my mug falls into mud, then I wash it under the water, it becomes very clean. Whereas when it falls in the grease, I wash under the water, it doesn't go away, it doesn't become clean. Last time when it fell in the mud, I washed it under the running water, it was very clean, but today it's not becoming clean. Why? Anyone?
Grease is sticky.
Huh?
Grease is sticky.
Grease is sticky, so, and mud also sticky.
You need something more than just water to clean.
So
Yes, the girl here.
it's become more rigid.
Mud can also become more rigid, mud if it dries. Okay, tell me, why in the second case it is not going away? Huh? So, no, why? I washed in water, but this time it's not going away. Any advice? Read out.
It's not the right thing to use. You have to use soap with water. Only water.
No, earlier when it fell, I used the water, it worked. So this is why.
They're both different. One is mud, the other one is
Okay, so did you, what's your name?
Sanjit.
Sanjit. So how many agree with Sanjit? Saying that, Sanjit said that to know what remedy to apply, we need to know the nature of the defilement. If the defilement is different, remedy should be different. You getting it? Earlier, the defilement was just an ordinary mud. So there, the ordinary water is good enough. But with the grease and mud, these are not the same. For grease, you need different remedies. How many agree with Sanjit? Resents. Okay, good. In other words, what you are saying is that to apply the remedy, right? Okay, some people they are so weird. You know what? When they said that now the whole world is exploded with the coronavirus, somebody said that I will bomb the coronavirus. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? Tell me why. Present, those who laugh, presents. Why are you laughing? Why? Huh? It's not possible. Why it's not possible? You can bomb the coronavirus so it disappears. Yes? No. COVID, we put in the, what is that? will send message to against the COVID-19. Why not? Okay. So the point is that why you're laughing is that you know the answer. You may not be able to articulate, right? The point is that when you say that I will bomb the COVID, bomb meaning you are applying remedies, yes? To apply remedies, we have to know the nature of what you're going to remove. COVID is not like a house, right? COVID is not like a house. It's so tiny that the bomb is totally irrelevant. You're getting it? So to remedy, you need to know what the nature of that object to be remedied. So to apply the remedy, to apply the remedy to your mind, you need to know the nature of the mental department. You're getting it? You got it? Good. Now our job is, before you talk about the remedy, you need to talk about the nature of the mental defilements. So mental defilements, the nature of the mental defilements is you become to know that they are either related to ignorance, somehow they are related to ignorance. Some of them are the offshoots of ignorance. Some of them the smell of the ignorance. Offshoots of ignorance, they fall under afflictive obscurations, and smell of the ignorance, they are the cognitive obscurations. Okay? Some are related to ignorance. So, do you agree with me that ignorance is like darkness? Right? In dark, you don't see the reality. You don't see what's around you. With ignorance, you don't see the reality. Do they resemble each other? Okay. How to remove the darkness? It is only by introducing the light. Say, oh Buddha, please remove the darkness. Buddha will be very upset. What a stupid follower. Right? Whereas if you light a candle, the Buddha will be so happy. Right? So the only way, the wisest way by which to remove the darkness is by introducing the light. Likewise, to remove the darkness of the ignorance is only done through introducing the light of the wisdom. You getting it? Only through the light of the wisdom. So this is known as the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. Okay. So what is to be introduced? How should the child of the lineage practice the perfect wisdom? Is by igniting the light of the wisdom within you. Wisdom to see the reality as it is. So this wisdom, light of the wisdom, will remove the mental defilements. After mental defilements removed, mental body is removed, then the goal inside you will become more and more manifest. Okay, so with this in mind, let us further read. I'll read it for you. Second paragraph. Then through the power of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva. How should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of profound professional wisdom train? He said that, and the Bodhisattva, so the second paragraph is the first point. First point, that is, what's the first point of the train which are not to be missed? What's the first one? What's the question asked by Shariputra to Aravinda? So the second paragraph is the first point. Then what's the second point? What's the response given by Aravinda to Shariputra? Okay. He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravinda said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Okay, this is response. And the response is in great detail. It's greatly detailed. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound professional wisdom should look upon it like this. You should change your perception of the reality. So thus far, what in dream, okay, let me put it like this. Let's say that okay. So let's say we break this group into two groups, Group A and Group B. And Geshe is going to take us to Mount Kailash for pilgrimage. And Geshe says that Mount Kailash is extremely beautiful, and it's a beautiful spick and what's that? Spick and span clean on Kailash, right? Okay. So you're also excited, Group A and Group B, and you have but Geshe wants you that be careful. You should keep yourself away from the glare, from the snow, the glare. For that you have to buy goggles, and there are two shops. One where you get extremely the crystal clear goggles, and the other shop, a very cheap goggles, is very murky goggles, where the glasses are not clean. Group A goes to the first shop, clean one. Group B, murky glasses. And you go there. And Group A, and the looks at the monkaras, wow, so beautiful. Group B looks at it, oh, what is this? Geshe said this very clean monkaras, but it's very dirty. Right? And then Group B has Prarag as the leader, and Prarag said, don't worry, we'll start up Mount Kailash a clean project. We will start with Mount Kailash clean project. Right? So then Guru A says, no, what are you crazy? It's already very clean. And Prarag and his group said, no, it's so dirty, so murky. Right? Okay. Now let's see. Say Group A looking at Mount Kailash seeing so clean. Group B looking at the same Mount Kailash seeing so dirty. Are you two looking at the same Mount Kailash or different Mount Kailash? Same Mount Kailash. How many agree with me in a sense? Good. Mount Kailash is seen by Group A as very clean, that is Nirvana. Mount Kailash seen by Group A as very clean, that is Nirvana. Mount Kailash seen as very dirty by Group B, that is Samsara. You getting it? Is this difference because of the Mount Kailash or difference because of your perception? Your perception. You getting it? Your perception. So, we interact with the world. Each one of us, we interact with the world. We interact with the world through our own lens of your mind. You agree with me or not? We interact with the world through the lens of our own mind. And this mind is like the lens. The lens. And how clean is this lens? How clean is this lens? Right? How clean is this lens? It's very complicated. It's very dirty or it's very defined lens. Right? So if you look at the world with the defined lens of our mind, invariably you're going to see this world is imperfect. Right? Invariably you'll see this world is very imperfect. Okay. So our mind tends to see things. You see things as imperfect. Every way is imperfect. Say, when this, for example, do you agree with me or not? When your mind is lacking love and affection, whatever you see, there's complication. There's a mistake there. There's something wrong there. Do you agree? If you put all the flowers intact like this, there's a problem. It's not like the army regiment. You know, it's not that all the flowers should be in this vase. Some flowers can be outside like this. It's beautiful, aesthetic. Whereas if you put the flowers like this, you don't know where the flower goes. So when you don't feel the love and affection, whatever the person does, there's a mistake there. Whereas if your mind has the love and affection, whatever the person does is so beautiful. For example, say the small children, age 3, 4, they dirty the wall by sketching with the pencils. In the eyes of the visitors, it's not nice to see, the whole dirty by. But in the eyes of the mother, this is a beautiful drawing. It was love and affection. You're getting it? So how the same what you're seeing, it entirely depends on your mindset. Your mindset, when your mindset is imbued with love and affection, you're bound to see things are so beautiful. Everything is beautiful. Your mind, when your mind is not imbued with love and affection, or with the cognitive, say the developed mind, you're bound to see things as something wrong there. When you see something wrong there, your mind is agitated. This is when the stress happens. You getting it? Same. What's your interpretation? If somebody dirtied the wall with the sketches, is it painting or this is a dirty wall? Huh? It depends. In the eyes of the mother, this is so beautiful. In the eyes of the visitors, this is unacceptable. Okay, so look at this. I think age about 13 or 14. And my classmates, they were already most sophisticated in thinking. My classmates, they were so busy. So, age 12, my classmates, the boys, girls, they were all very busy. I think that the Richard Gere, you know Richard Gere? Huh? Richard Gere, you know him? Huh? So Gere, Gere. Richard Gere, you got small children? Richard Gere. What is Richard Gere? I was confused. Right? What is Richard Gere? And I asked, what is Richard Gere? Everybody was just hurrying up to dash. And I also have to dash. I don't know where to dash. But everybody is dashing. So I also do dash. Otherwise I'm dead, So by the way, before I dash, I have to ask, what is Richard Gere? I said, you don't know? I said, no, everybody's hurrying. I also hurrying, not know where to go. And I said, what is Richard Gere? He's a very famous Hollywood actor. And I thought that it must be something very special. So I also ran with them. No, I think so I was doing. And finally, there was just one gentleman there. It must be at the peak of his career. I was just 12, 13 years old. He must be 22, 23. And there was 2 or 3 people with him. And so, that is Richard Gere. And what is this? Why? He's a very famous actor. No, my father's more handsome than him. Why is he so popular? My father's much more handsome than him. Then when I was like age 14, 15, 16, 17, around like 18, my aunt, once I was with my aunt, and my aunt was explaining to me about my aunt from mother's side was explaining about my father's family. I said that your father, including him, there were 7 siblings that I knew. And he said that of these 7 siblings, your father was the ugliest. In my eyes, I see that he was more smart than Richard Gere. And now my aunt was saying that he is the ugliest of the 7. Okay, so why this boy was seeing his father is much more handsome than Richard Gere? Because of his love. You're getting it? When you have love and affection, everything is divine and beautiful. When the love and affection is missing, something's wrong there. Something's wrong there. This is the secret of the happiness. Let's not forget it. Okay. Jill, what time should I stop?
Okay, now we were thinking to serve. Would you like to take a break or would you like us to serve?
Yeah. Really. Okay, so
Or question answer at some point also is fine.
okay, so basically, so what is saying that information that I got is that she will be served here while the class is happening. That's better. That makes no sense.
Because we don't want to break your momentum.
Yeah,
I know that. And if you want, individually as a movement, you can just go and walk around and come back again. But we will continue with the teaching. Okay, we will serve the tea over the table, right? Because we will be delayed. Then there will be a question answer at the end of the session. So I don't want you to stay back more than 4:30 or something. Okay? Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, so what I'm saying is that your outlook of the world with love and affection and with wisdom, with these two things, you will see the world very different. So the point is that, our job is how should the child of lineage practice the perfection of wisdom? Is by applying the remedies. What kind of remedies are applied depends on what kind of mental defilements. And mental defilements, we're going to know that it's related to ignorance. So the remedy should be the wisdom. What kind of wisdom? What kind of wisdom? Ignorance by the very definition. Okay, I would also like to, what is this ignorance? In simple terms, I'd like to ask you a question. For the ignorance, let us say that the incidents. The first one is a pleasant dream, second unpleasant dream, and third one waking up. Of the three, you chose the number 3. You chose number 3. Okay. Is there anybody who can tell me? There are problems with both the dreams. Pleasant dream, unpleasant dream, both. There's a problem there. Okay. Is there anybody who would like to share with us what are the commonalities between these two dreams? Pleasant dream and unpleasant dream both. What are the common? There are so many commonalities there. Just share your thoughts.
Both are false in dream.
Sorry?
Both are false.
Both are false. True. Very good. Anyone else? Yes.
Both seen as real.
Both seen as real. Good. Anyone else? Yes.
Both will not last.
Both will not last. Very good. Anyone else?
Both the dreams you don't have control whether you have a pleasant dream or an unpleasant dream.
Pleasant dream, unpleasant, in both cases you have no control. Okay. How many it makes sense to how many you raise hands? Both the dreams, they have no control. Okay. This is a very important point I'd like to share with you. What Richard has said is that, let's say that how many you would be very happy that Geshe one day takes all of us to His Holiness, the audience with His Holiness? Yeah. Okay. And how many you would be so happy? It may not happen tomorrow, but you can have a dream, right? You can have a very pleasant dream of Geshe taking us all to the audience with His Holiness Dalai Lama. Not only that, in the dream, His Holiness tells Geshe that, why don't we have a cup of tea together with me? How many are happy with this results? Very happy. Okay. How many of you like to have this dream tonight? Presents. How many of you like to have this dream tonight? Presents. Very good. How many of you will have this dream tonight? Presents. How many of you will have this dream tonight? Presents. Why not? It's a very pleasant dream. Why not? Presents. Why not? Why not? Why? Why not?
It's not in our control.
It is not in our control. You are going to get this is the meaning of what Dorji has said. Both dreams share one thing in common. That is that the dream is not in your control. Even though however pleasant dream is, it is not in your control. You getting it? Okay. Anything else where these two dreams share things in common? Anything else?
You will ultimately wake up from.
You will wake up ultimately, doctor.
Both of them generate emotions within you.
They can both of them can easily do both of them equally generate have the potential to generate emotion within you. Anyone else? Anyone else? Anyone else?
Both are projections of your mind.
Okay. So basically what I'm saying is that all the answers given above, they are all perfect, not perfect, very good. So I'm looking particularly for this, that both are projection of your own mind. Yes, no, how many agree with hands? Both are projection of your own mind. Projection of mind is subjective or objective? Subjective. So one thing common between the two dreams is that both are subjectively real. You getting it? So that say the if you see that the dream is subjectively real, when does it happen? To see dream as subjectively real, in the dream or outside dream? Outside dream. So in order to see the dream as subjectively real, you have to come out of the dream. What should you do to come out of the dream?
Wake up.
Very good. Don't forget it. Wake up. Wake up. This is what the Buddha is referred to as, one of the epithets of the Buddha is the fully awakened one. We have to wake up. We have to wake up. You getting it? Okay, next question is? Next question is?
How do you wake up?
How to wake up. You getting it? This is what we're going to study here. So, okay, what is the distinctive feature of waking up? Anyone, raise hands. What is the distinctive feature of waking up?
Your eyes open.
Okay, some people they sleep with eyes open. Aware of what?
Aware of yourself, your thoughts, your mind.
Very good. Okay, do you agree with me that waking up, the distinct feature is that to see what is around you as coming from the subject, as subjectively real. Do you agree with me or not? So when you wake up, it's from the common dream. When you wake up, that you come to know that the dream, all the contents of dream, they were all coming from my mind. They were all projections from my mind. You agree? They were all subjectively real. You agree? So waking up, the distinct feature of the dream, that the distinct feature of the waking up is to see that things are all coming from your projection of your mind. When you see that it's all projection of mind, what happens? That projection of your mind, when you remember, when you know that, then the remote control is in your hand. Yes? So, say, how many when you were watching television with your little brother, how many wanted to keep the remote control in your hand? You don't want to give the remote control in the little brother's hand. Raise hands. Okay, why? Why you want to keep the remote control in your hand? Why? Huh? I can control. In other words, we are all seeking the total freedom. If the remote control is not in my hand, I don't have the freedom. What I want is, I want freedom. You're getting it? Okay. So what we are seeking is we are seeking absolute freedom. And the absolute freedom comes, absolute freedom, and in the dream you have the freedom, or come out of the dream you have the freedom? Out of the dream. So you get out, when you out of the dream, then the dream contents will not affect you anymore. Dream contents cannot affect you anymore. That is when you are totally freed from the contents of the dream. You getting it? So what you're going to learn is that if not only the conventional dream, even what is happening now, even this is also a form of a dream. You getting it? This is an unconventional dream. Dream is of two kinds: conventional dream and unconventional dream. From the conventional dream, we wake up every day. But from the unconventional dream, we have never woken up from this unconventional dream. And if there's anybody who has already woken up, anyone raise hands? Woken up from the unconventional dream? If you are woken up, right, you will not come to this class. And if you still come, which means you have come to check on me. To see, what he is teaching, whether it's accurate or not accurate, you come to check on me. Right? Okay. So, the point is that we have to learn how to wake up from this unconventional dream. You're getting it? Just as the conventional dream is all projection on mind, even unconventional dreams also projection on mind. There are so many questions that can potentially come along with this presentation, that in everything that we experience out of the dream is all equally mental projection and the form of unconventional dream. When I say this, many questions are bound to be there. You getting it? Okay, so before we set the tone for the next class, tomorrow's class, I'd like to share with you that when I say that everything that's happening now, after waking up, even that is also a kind of a dream, which is unconventional dream. When I say that, many people may think that then everything is like imagination. Then if everything is imagination, then it's like nihilism. Nihilism. So how would you distinguish between what's reality and what's nihilism? How can we make sure that when we say that everything is an unconventional dream, then it's not nihilism? This is a big question. To save us from this, we need to introduce what is known as the concept of dependent origination. Okay. Before this, if you have some questions related to dream, everything which has your mind and so forth, if you have questions, please.
Before we begin with the last section of the day, I would like to make a little bit announcement here. When you enter into this room, you must have seen some pamphlet or a small square box over there. We have put it up as a donation box. So, you know that the center is progressing and these events are happening solely based on our donors and the supporters. And I would like to thank Kamal Lama for always financial support for this. Because of Kamal Lama, we managed to organize these kind of events. And then we have another support, Jill, for managing all the Geshe-la's transportation and many other things. And we have Pamela here. She's also a great supporter of this center. So it is my humble request that if you could donate any XY amount, it will be helpful for us or helpful to the center to organize these kind of event. And we are also planning to have our own space in the near future to establish a proper center in the near future. So in order to achieve these goals, we need to have financial support from the friends and the well-wishers. So, sorry, I'm getting old, so you know that I'm becoming forgetful. We have Sweet in front of us. He is also a very, a very, very, very dedicated supporter for this center. And we have Mina, right? We have Mina. I think she's not here today. She's there? Oh, I'm sorry, Mina, I couldn't still see you. So, Mina is one of our very, very, dedicated supporter of this institution for space, in terms of monetary, everything. So, because of her, Geshe-la managed to settle here in Mumbai in the beginning of the year. She provided her space, so that I must say that shelter. She provided her shelter to Geshe-la so that Geshe-la can stay here for some time before Geshe-la moved to the current residence. So this is what I wish to say. We have a GPay. If you wish to donate any number of amount, we will always be grateful to you. That's it, and I believe that chai has been serving. So we will begin with the question answer session now. That is the last session. So along with a cup of tea. If you have any question to Geshe, I will come to you to give you the mic. Please raise your hand. Yes.
In fact, before the question, I simply like to share a short anecdote of Venerable. It's a very interesting story. This is, in a way, a big message for all of us, encouraging us not to follow blindly. So what happened was that when she was in Delhi, she asked me if I make home visits. I said yes. And then she invited me to meet one of her friends whose father was suffering from stroke. And I also met her neighbors. There was one neighbor who was going through a very tough time. And Venerable asked the neighbor, who was already in his, I think, 70s, 60s, and Venerable asked the gentleman that in future, since you already retired, you can go to Tibet House for classes. Then the gentleman, what he said is that he did not say no, he did not say yes. He said that in a nice way, he said that I talk to God directly. I talk to God directly every day. I talk to God directly, and he is very sincere. So which means I don't want the what is that? Middle person, to communicate with God. Then in the next visit, when there was a time when Venerable was moving to Mumbai. So perhaps that was my last visit to her place, and then her neighbor also. And she was more insistent this time to tell him that, okay, it's good that if you can, go to Vishwas class in Tibet House. Again, he said that nice way, in a nice way, he said that yeah, I talked to God directly. Then Venerable said that if you go to Tibet House, you will stop all these nonsense. She didn't say nonsense, but she said if you go to Tibet House, you will stop saying all these things. It's totally irrelevant, those things. You will say something sensible. Vishnu realized this is what she said. I was so wow, that's amazing. Okay, next question.
Thank you, Geshe. Geshe, my question is, how does one develop the conviction that we really are in an unconventional dream?
It's a good question. Thank you. So yes, we have another two sessions tomorrow, and let's try our best to see how to go with this. And also, I would highly recommend that we have now the Kinona there, Jill, Pamela, Sweet, many of the supporters here. I would highly recommend that you have some concrete teachings on like wisdom fountain, the Heart Sutra from Geshe, some concrete where, like this group, you can come there, take the lessons and have some question answers, and don't expect that something will just hit you right away, and then you will see emptiness. Don't expect that. This should be a slow and steady wins the race, right? This is how we have to grow, and this is my request to you. And of course, how to get conviction. What we are seeing is all just such a real. This is like an unconventional dream. So for this, we have another 2 sessions. That is the core of our teaching. Yes.
Anyone? Please raise your hand if you have any questions. Anyone? No questions?
Gisela, when was the last time you were angry?
Me angry. I have a disease. I have one disease which is a disease of perfectionism. It's very complicated. This is a big disease. These people can become angry very easily. Something, say one time I was entering into the Tibetan campus, the building, and then I was in the lobby, reception, and the receptionist was there, and I was just looking around like this, and when I was looking around like this, the reception was a little tense. I felt that, and then to ease her tension, I went to her. I said, "Are you scared of me?" She said, "No." Very scared actually. And I said, "Why are you scared?" And she said that I learned from my seniors that Geshe, you are very precise with everything. Even they say the posters, they should all in proper line, parallel, and even the color of the pin should be same. This is too much exaggeration. The elders gave, I don't know what they just gave all these impressions to the juniors. Be very careful. He's so meticulous. He's so perfectionist. You will end up in problem, right? So yes, that's true. So particularly when somebody is very hardworking, make mistakes, it's not an issue. Anybody can make mistakes. This is how I also make mistakes. But the point is that when somebody makes a mistake, and there's one staff, again, I asked her, "Are you scared?" She said that, "No, why not?" She said that if we make mistakes, Geshe will teach us. If we make the second mistake, then he will scold us. Okay, so what I'm saying is that when somebody is not really hard working, it's just sharing responsibility, then make mistakes, then irritation comes.
Anyone else?
Yes.
Here, yes.
So Geshe, thank you so much. What happens is sometimes within the teaching it is all good. Today is great. Tomorrow again I'm going. The taxi driver cancels. I need to get to airport. This happened yesterday. 2 cab drivers, I'm like, okay. 3rd one, I'm like angry already. Like, you have to come. You better come. Tell me now if you're not going to come. So till realizations happen, what might be some good suggestions you might have in day-to-day practical
skills? Thank you. There are 2 things. One is the problem which you can fix. Other one, the problem which you cannot fix. For example, say Delhi. Some people make appointment with me, and they are delayed for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and some of them they're so precise. They feel so guilty of not showing up on time, and actually the traffic is not in his hand. It is not in her hand, the traffic. Right? So therefore, this you have to understand it. If you don't take that into consideration, the fact is dependent origination. There are so many factors dependent upon which the person be able to come on time. There are so many factors. Yeah? And when some factors go wrong, which is not in his or her control, then this person is not to be blamed. So don't let us learn how to look at things. For example, if the appointment is 2 o'clock, of course the person should set off from the place before 3 o'clock. If the person sets off from the place at 3 o'clock, then it is a person's mistake. Because the traffic will minimum take 15-20 minutes, minimum. And then you arrive only at 3:15. Even if the traffic is so efficient, you come only 3:15, which is your mistake. So this we can tell them that this is not how it works. There are so many other atonements, and I'm waiting, and so many things can happen otherwise. Okay, whereas there are things which are not in his control or in her control. So that you have to know the factors. So you are not to be blamed. The traffic, this, that is totally unpredictable. So if you put yourself in others' shoes, then your agitation will not happen. And instead, not only that your agitation will not happen, your empathy will grow. Your compassion will grow to this other person. And this is a great, great gift from that person. Because someone who can make your compassion grow, that compassion is the secret of your happiness. Secret of happiness. And this compassion will guarantee that your happiness is like, say that as long as you have this compassion, every time this compassion will give you some degree of happiness. All these degrees of happiness year by year, all these many years, is all because of the contribution of this particular person who made you learn what is empathy, what is compassion. So not only that, you are not agitated, your agitation is under control at that moment. By being able to put yourself in the shoes of the other person, you will learn how to empathize with the other person. Compassion grows, and this will serve as a basis for your many, many, many years of compassion, and because of which many, many, many years of joy and happiness. It's so precious. Yeah. So we should be feeling grateful to the other person, particularly when the other person is not really responsible for the mistake the person made. Here.
Okay, maybe we will take one or two more questions and then we'll end the session.
Okay, the question, you can ask any question, right? Don't think that it is not necessary that all questions must be answered right now, or I should have all the answers. But the questions must not be stopped. The questions are so precious. Please don't hesitate to ask questions. Yes.
So, is psychological pain or hurt subjectively real or objectively real?
Okay. They say, this is a good question. In fact, the pain, hurt, or say the agitation, there are several kinds. For example, let's say the acute cold, acute heat, acute humidity, that can agitate you. And then let's say let's say that the person says, how are you? Right? How are you can be, so in your ear, it can you can hear it very differently depending on what your mind state is. So if you're very happy that moment, how are you as concerned for the other person? I'm well, thank you so much. Whereas if your mind is disturbed, or say that somebody is saying that okay, you have a health issue, your boss may fire you from your job. When you hear this, suddenly somebody asks you, how are you? Right? Is it so like you're checking on your health? Are you my doctor? Right? So this response can come, depending on the situation. So what your mental state you are in, that can determine how you interpret the other person's the point of view. So this purely, grossly subjective. Subjective, there are many connotations. Some very grossly subjective, and some are very subtly subjective. So this is purely psychological mental agitation. Like this, somebody says, how are you? And you feel so agitated. Are you my doctor? You go out and look, she's asking how I'm, this is not her business. She has so many other things, she's not happy herself. Why is she asking about, right? Asking about what I'm doing, this is not her business. You're getting it? So it's just self-torture. This is self-torture. So the point is that These are purely subjective, grossly subjective. Not only purely subjective.